Good evening to all of you. Today topic is very interesting and very practical. That is payment of tax. And it's comparatively simple chapter as well. Mainly in this particular chapter, we are going to discuss in detail section 49, section 50, and slight other provision as well. So if you remember in the ITC chapter, we have already discussed the way of utilization. The section 49 subsection 5 has already been covered in the ITC chapter. What is the sequence? Now the balance provision we will discuss, and also the other provision like section 50 and other small provisions. So miss, no problem. You can visit to the ICI YouTube channel and then watch the recording. Payment of tax, interest, penalty, and other amount. Subsection 1 says every deposit made toward the tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount by a person by internet banking or using credit card or debit card or NEFT or RTGS or such other mode and subject to certain condition and restriction as may be prescribed shall be credited to the ECL, electronic cash ledger, in such manner as may be prescribed. Fine. So we can deposit the amount, tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other. The mode can be the which we have discussed: internet banking, credit card, debit card, RTGS, NEFT, or such other mode as may be prescribed, shall be credited to the cash ledger. Fine. The ITC as self-assessed in the return of the registered person. The ITC which is self-assessed in the return of the registered person. So means which return they are talking about? GSTR 3B. We have the two classes on the GST returns. Everything we will discuss in that classes. But yes, ITC is being taken in the GSTR 3B. If you remember, there are the fifth condition which talks about that recipient has filed the 3B. If you remember 16 subsection 2, last clause D is talking about he has furnished the return under section 39. It means the recipient has filed the return GSTR 3B. Now, when he filed the 3B, whatever the ITC is self-assessed, that will be credited to which ledger? Electronic credit ledger. So till the time we have discussed the two categories of the ledger, one is cash ledger, one is credit ledger. Amount available in the cash ledger. Amount available in the electronic cash ledger may be used for making any payment toward the tax, interest, penalty, fees, or other payable under the provision of this act or the rules made thereunder. It means we can use the cash ledger for the tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other payable. 49.4 talking about amount available in the credit ledger may be used for making any payment toward the output tax under this act or under IGST, subject to such condition and such restriction and within such time as may be prescribed. Correct? Amount of input tax available, this particular 49.5 we have completely discussed in the ITC chapter. Fully completely discussed in the ITC chapter along with practical example. Amount of the ITC available in the electronic credit ledger on account of the IGST shall be first utilized toward the payment of IGST, and amount remaining, if any, may be utilized toward the payment of CGST and SGST as the case may be, or UTGST in that order. Then CGST shall be first utilized toward the payment of CGST and the amount remaining may be utilized toward the payment of integrated tax. Similarly, they are talking about SGST. The proviso says that ITC on account of the state tax shall be utilized toward the payment of I first only when SGST ITC can be given to the IGST. Answer is there is a sequence. I will take the amount from I, then C, then S. Still there is an order. UTGST I'm not talking about, it is exactly copy paste of the SGST. The CGST shall not be utilized toward the payment of SGST and SGST shall not be utilized toward the payment of CGST. Fine. The balance in the electronic cash ledger or electronic credit ledger after payment of tax, interest, penalty or any other amount payable under this act, there and may be refunded in accordance with the provision of section 54. So it can be refunded. So if you like to take the refund, you can take the refund of electronic cash ledger, any amount which is lying. You can use, no problem. If you like to take the refund, that also not an issue. Every taxable person shall discharge under this act or rules made thereunder in the following manner. So there is a manner which is being prescribed. Self-assessed tax and other dues related to the returns of previous tax period. Self-assessed tax and other dues related to the return of current tax period. So they are saying, so self-assessed tax and other dues relating to the returns of the previous tax period, then current tax period, then any other amount payable under this act, including the demand determined in 73 or 74. Every taxable person shall discharge his tax liability and other dues under this act or the rules made thereunder in the following order. So first order for the self-assessed tax liability for the previous tax period, then self-assessed tax liability for the current tax period, then any other amount payable including the demand under 73 or 74. Every person who has paid the taxes on goods or services or both under this act, unless contrary proved, be deemed to have passed the full incidence of the tax to the recipient of the goods or services or what does it mean? If you remember, in the yesterday last class, we have discussed this clause. I think Karthik, you have asked the question, what is the meaning of incidence of the tax passed, etc. Again repeating, incidence of the tax, it means who has bear the tax, who is paying the tax from its own book, who is paying the tax. So if Mr. A is a supplier and Mr. B is a customer, okay. If Mr. B has made the payment to Mr. A, including taxes, so unless contrary proved, it will be deemed that it will be deemed that A has passed the full incidence of the tax on the recipient, that is Mr. B. So including demand, Rekha, so the liability of any registered person can be of any liability. Now, suppose he is involved in the fake invoicing, or he is involved in the fraudulent ITC, or there may be any tax interest penalty determined according to section 73, 74. So there are multiple sections of demand, including there is a one provision 73, 74. So if any other amount payable, maybe it is of demand, it is any other penalty, so that can be recovered after the self-assessment tax is recovered. Burden of the tax passed to the customer, its simple meaning that if I am supplying the goods or services to you and I have collected the amount including taxes, it means I have passed the incidence of the tax to you. It is being used at multiple places. So what is the use? Like for example, what is the use? I like to give one example, not relevant from exam point of view, but it is relevant for understanding point of view. Say, for example, I am supplying the goods to you. Value is 1 lakh and tax is 18%, 18,000. You have paid 1 lakh 18,000 to me. So, and it means I have passed the incidence of the tax. I have passed the burden of the tax on my recipient because I have collected. Now, who is paying? You are paying to me. It means I have collected the tax component to you. I have collected the tax component to you. And I can say that I have passed the incidence of the tax on the recipient. Now, for example, extending the example, suppose actually the rate of the taxes was 12%, but I have collected from you 18%. Now, in the refund chapter, when you go, then it is saying that I can take the refund of excess tax. I have paid 18% to the government. Correct? What was the tax rate applicable? It was 12%. So I can collect the 6%. But for collecting, whether I have bear the tax, that is important. So if I am supplying to you and you are paying to me, it means I have collected from you, then I cannot take the refund from the government because incidence of the tax has been passed to the recipient. It is mandatory in the refund. It is mandatory in the refund that incidence of the tax has not been passed to the recipient. See, if I have paid from my own pocket extra tax, then only I should eligible for refund now. So I have collected from you total 18. Now I am collecting from government 6%. That is incorrect. So what is the meaning of incidence of the tax? Pass if I am supplying the goods or services, you have paid the taxes, including you have paid the value, including taxes to me. So it means I have passed the burden of the proof. I have passed the incidence of the tax to the recipient. Is it clear? Isa, confirm Rekha? Yes, absolutely correct. Demand by the tax officer, GST officer, if they have raised any demand. Memon, Rafiq bhai, please explain cash and credit ledger. I forgot. No problem. I will log into the portal. I will try to log into the portal and then I will open the electronic cash ledger and credit ledger for better understanding. Mahadev Bhargava, 49 deals with payment of taxes and 49A, how to take ITC. See, how to take ITC, that 49A cannot tell. See, all these 49A, 49B, Rule 88A, Circular 98, these are teaching, these are telling to us that how you will utilize the ITC. How to take the ITC, that has been clarified in the 16, 17, 18. You simply add in the electronic AGSTR3B, it will be credited to the electronic cash ledger. Means refund can be taken by the recipient who bear the absolutely correct. Who bear the incidence of the tax will be eligible for refund. So in my point, I like to say that if I'm collecting from you, that incidence has been passed from the supplier to the recipient. Isa Jaiswal and Mahadev, kindly confirm. Fine. Give me only 1 minute so that I can log into the portal. I can log into the portal and then explain cash ledger and credit ledger. Give me only 1 minute. I am logging to the portal. So there is one more ledger, that is electronic liability. So that we'll also discuss. But first, I like to explain the electronic cash and credit ledger. Raghavan has asked, in your example, if supplier issued the credit note, then he can claim the return. Is it right, sir? Yes. If he given the credit of taxes of 6%, then yes, I would be eligible to take the refund because I have given the refund of the taxes. Now the incidence of the tax is borne by me. Then I can collect the taxes. This is only for your understanding purpose, nothing to do with the exam because refund chapter is covered in the final, not in the inter syllabus. So I hope you are able to see the screen, correct? I hope you are able to see the screen. Now let me click. This is the GST portal. Let me click on the services and then click on the laser. You can see that there are the laser. One is electronic cash laser, one is electronic credit laser, one is electronic liability register. That we will discuss. Correct. So first is electronic cash laser. What is the electronic cash laser? Electronic cash laser represent that whatever the amount I have paid, so that will be credited and I can use the amount, whatever the method, whatever the way we have discussed, for that we can use the balance available in the cash ledger. So it shows like this. So whatever the date of the deposit, time of the deposit, reference number, etc. Then it will show it is opening balance, credit, debit, or closing balance. This is the electronic cash ledger. Now going to the electronic credit ledger. So what is the electronic credit ledger? Electronic credit ledger is that when we are filing the GSTR 3B, then we are taking certain ITC. Then that ITC will be added in my electronic credit ledger. That ITC will be credited to my electronic credit ledger, and when I am paying my tax liability, I can utilize for toward the payment of the taxes, whatever we have discussed the provision, I first, C first, SGST first, or in any order, in any manner, everything we have discussed. So kindly give me the confirmation. What is the cash ledger and what is the credit ledger? Is it clear to all? Give me the confirmation that it is clear to all. So cash ledger, you are making the payment through net banking, through credit card, through debit card. But credit is means you have paid the taxes to the supplier under forward charge, or you directly paid the taxes under reverse charge. So the taxes on the supply which you are taking the ITC. So ITC is being charged on the tax invoice. ITC is being charged on the tax invoice in which you are taking the ITC through 3B. But the payment which you are making directly to the bank, that is electronic cash ledger. It will be credited in the cash ledger. There are also some restrictions. Like for example, Bharat, I like to pay the reverse charge tax liability, or I like to pay the interest, I like to pay the penalty. Then GST law is saying you cannot make these payments through credit ledger. You have to compulsory pay through cash ledger only. So there are the two types of the ledger. So what is the ledger? It is nothing but my bank account. With the GST government. One in which I am depositing the cash, one in which I am reporting my inward ITC. I hope it is clear. Kindly confirm. Less confirmation, very less confirmation. Everyone is okay with that? Can SSC make deposit in cash ledger in advance? Yes, Mansa. Let me explain this point also. For example, services, and payment. Create challan. I'm giving the reply to Mansa. Suppose I am making the, what is the difference? We'll discuss in the written chapter. But let's say I need to make the payment. See, these are the major head. These are the major head. And these are the minor head. So when I am depositing the amount, that is nothing to do with advance tax like DT. No. I can deposit at any point of time, which I can use while filing the return toward the payment of the tax, interest, penalty, etc. Or even if there is an excess, I can take the refund. So when I am depositing the taxes, how I will deposit the amount of the tax? How I will deposit in the cash ledger? So, like for example, I like to pay 1,000 rupees CGST, 1,000 rupees IGST. And similarly, 200 rupees is the late fees under CGST. And let's say 200 rupees is the late fees under IGST. So they are saying you can, you are total liable, you are making the payment of 2,400. When I will select e-payment over the counter, NEFT, RTGS, and then make the payment, it will be credited to my electronic cash ledger. Mansa, I hope it is clear. Kindly confirm. So next, credit ledger is equal to ITC available. See, ITC will be available in the credit ledger only. It is not the cash ledger. Cash ledger means the payment of the taxes which you are making like this in through PMT 06. Credit ledger and cash ledger, two different things. Whatever the payment I am making through PMT 06 challan, that will be credited to my cash ledger only. What is the credit? It is nothing but the input tax credit. Electronic cash ledger, whatever the depositing, whatever the cash I need to pay. Sir, why I need to pay the cash? See, first make it clear why I need to pay the cash. Might be you have the tax liability of 1,000 rupees and you have the ITC of 400. You need to pay the taxes of rupees 600. Na? You need to pay the taxes of rupees 600. Yes or no? Kindly confirm. Let me go back again from basic point. Then we'll confirm each and every question. First, tell me, if you have the ITC of the 400 and tax liability of 1,000, you have to pay rupees 600 balance, correct? Kindly confirm. Please confirm. Do you need to pay 600 or not required to pay? Answer is yes, I need to pay rupees 600. Answer is yes, I need to pay the 600. So that 600, how you will pay? That 600, how you will pay? You will pay through bank. That is, you are creating the challan and let's say 300 CGST and 300 is the SGST. So you are making the payment of 600 like this. You are making the payment of the taxes like now 600. What happened? Now you have paid the amount through net banking, let's say. You have paid the amount. Yes. Then this amount will be credited to which account? Suppose you are maintaining two bank accounts. One is the cash and one is the credit. One is the cash and one is the credit. Sir, I have deposited 600 in cash, so it will be credited to my electronic cash ledger. Fine. Then once it is been credited, you will pay the taxes. You can utilize that cash. You can utilize that cash to pay the taxes. So if I am paying through bank account, NEFT, RTGS, OTC over the counter, that will be credited to the credit ledger. Which credit ledger? No, not credit ledger. It will be credited to the cash ledger. It will be deposited in the cash ledger and you can use the same toward the tax liability. You can use the same toward the interest liability or penalty or late fees or any other. Is it clear? Kindly confirm cash ledger is clear. Please do not mix ITC in the cash. So nothing to do the ITC in the cash. Now, second point, what is the electronic credit ledger? See, what is the electronic credit ledger? Electronic input tax credit ledger. Now you will For the sake of understanding, you will not say only electronic credit ledger. You will understand electronic input tax credit ledger. If I am using the word input tax credit, we have already discussed the ITC chapter. We all have discussed the ITC chapter right now. So whatever the amount which is being charged on the tax invoice or being a recipient, I have paid the RCM liability. That is electronic credit ledger, right? That is ITC. That is input tax credit, correct? That is input tax credit. And we have discussed that this input tax credit, you have to add in the GSTR 3B. That input tax credit you are adding in 3B. So when you are adding in 3B, this amount will be deposited in the electronic credit ledger. So what is the source of electronic credit ledger? If I'm asking to you, what is the source of electronic credit ledger? Can you please tell me what is the source of deposit the amount in the electronic credit ledger? What is the source of amount deposited in the electronic credit ledger? The answer is, what is the answer? The answer is GSTR 3B. What is that? So the tax invoice on which GST is being charged by the supplier, or you being a recipient directly paying the tax under RCM, these are nothing but the input tax credit. You are adding in GSTR 3B. As a result, it will be credited. It will be deposited in your one bank account. Name of that bank account is electronic credit ledger. For sake of understanding, we are naming it electronic input tax credit ledger. For the sake of understanding or for the better clarity, we are naming it electronic input tax credit ledger. Fine. So now, what is the source of electronic cash ledger? You will say whatever the payment you are made directly, either through bank or RTGS or NEFT, etc. What is the source of electronic credit ledger? It is GSTR 3B. Susil, difference is clear, kindly confirm. Susil, difference is clear, kindly confirm. So what is the use of that cash or credit ledger? You will use for payment of tax liability. You will use for the payment of the tax liability, but please remember, if I have to pay the interest, I have to pay the penalty, I have to pay the late fees, then can it be paid through ITC? Answer is no. You have to pay the same through cash ledger only. It means ITC, input tax credit, can only be used for the payment of the tax liability. And whatever we have discussed in the ITC chapter, according to that. But electronic cash ledger can be used for any payment, tax or interest or penalty or fees or others. Whatever the liability you have, you can use the cash ledger. Let me discuss the question. Now you ask the question, I will answer. Question first, Karthik. So you said that ITC will get credited in the credit ledger when the 3B is filed, but will not get credited when the recipient files GSTR1, which appeared in recipient. No. See, this is auto population register. GSTR2B is auto populated. Absolutely correct. But the amount is not credited according to GSTR2B because the taxpayer, registered person, recipient has to determine the self-assessed tax liability, self-assessed input tax credit, and then he will add in 3B. Once he files the 3B, amount will be credited in the electronic credit ledger. Is it okay? Rafiq bhai. So if tax through cash, so its ITC is available. See, again, never mix. ITC is available. ITC is available of what? Of tax invoice. Why you are taking the ITC? So there is two mode of the payment of the taxes. Either you pay through cash or pay through ITC. Whatever you paid cash, you can directly use for ITC, for tax liability. Is it clear? Krishna Sharma, can we use input in any type of the tax liability? This point has already been discussed in the ITC chapter, but it is not a small point. There are some restrictions, there are some sequence, there are some preference. So all this we have discussed in the 49 subsection 5, 88 capital A rule, and 49 capital A section and 49 capital B section. So these four things we have to understand to answer your question, and we have spent almost 1 hour in the ITC chapter. I request please visit that video, you will have the clarity. But in short, I have given the answer. So, Mehmet Rafiq, whatever I will pay the cash, it will not be the ITC. It will be available in my cash ledger. I can use whenever I want to discharge my tax liability, or if I want, I can take the refund also. But it is not the ITC. See, these are the two things, either cash or either ITC. So cash ka ITC? No, that is not the correct understanding. I hope it is clear. Rekha, tax paid by the recipient to the supplier is credited to the credit ledger. Am I right? Yes. But how it will be credited? How it will be credited? You have to add in 3B. You have to add in GSTR 3B. Then it will be credited. It will be credited to the electronic credit ledger. Accounting entry would be I debit electronic. So I will not tell the accounting entry. I'm not in the position right now, or we should not again confuse with accounting entry. So the accounting entry would be obviously different, and for ITC different, for RCM liability difference. So we'll not discuss the accounting entry for the time being. Any question on the ITC part or cash ledger part, you may ask. And there is some more question. Mahadev, first way to deposit cash through various means, then only can realize from electronic cash ledger. So can realize, what does it mean? Once I will deposit, it will be available. It will be available in the cash ledger. Then only I can use for my payment of the any liability, whether it is tax liability or interest or payment. But understanding is correct. Sushil, I hope you're clear. Meman, Rekha, Somesh, yes. Now, there are two more questions. Mansa, you have answered that accounting entry will not discuss. Ankur Patel, tax liability paid through ITC. Tax liability paid through ITC. And if it is fully utilized, then balance is paid through cash. And if it is fully utilized, then what is the requirement to pay in cash? Okay, you are saying your tax liability is higher, let's say 1,000. You have the ITC of 600, then balance 400 would be paid through cash ledger. Obviously, but yes, absolutely correct. But Ankur, only one point I like to say, there is again requirement. Suppose I don't like to use ITC. See, in 100% cases, everyone, in 99% cases, everyone will like to utilize the ITC. But again, if one say, I will not like to utilize ITC, I will pay in cash, most welcome, he can pay in cash. Karthik, can we said that electronic credit ledger is just kind of the bank account open with the GST in which we deposit the money which can be used to pay liability? Yes. Even I can say not only cash, even credit ledger is also some sort of the bank account. So which is in which I am paying the taxes to the supplier or directly to the government, crediting in my that electronic credit ledger and utilizing for my future tax liability. Any other question, please ask me. Please ask the question if it is not answered. Any question, if it is not answered, kindly ask the same. Now, that sequence we have discussed, then every person was paid, we have discussed now. A registered person may, on the common portal, transfer any amount of the tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount available in the cash ledger under this act to the cash ledger for CGST, IGST, SGST, UTGST in such form and such manner as may be prescribed. This part we will discuss practically. Electronic cash ledger means the ledger which is available for payment of the GST liability. Sushil, both the ledger, cash or credit, we are using for payment of the tax only. We are utilizing for payment of the tax only. Mode of amount added is different. In the cash, you are depositing from money. You are directly depositing the money to the government. either by net banking or etc. And ITC based on the purchases, based on the inward supply, you are paying the taxes to the government, taxes to the supplier, or in the RCM, you are paying the taxes directly to the government. So on inward supply, whatever the tax liability, either forward charge or reverse charge, you are adding in 3B, and then in turn it will be credited in the electronic credit ledger. Again, amount lying in the cash or the credit, what you will use? You will use for the payment of tax liability. Clear? Is it clear? Sushil. Now the point is we are reading the section 49 subsection 10. They are saying amount available in the cash ledger can be transferred from one head to the another head. See, I have clicked on the cash ledger and see what is file GST PMT09 for transfer of the payment. This is section 49 subsection 10. This is section 49 subsection 10. Sushil, waiting for your reply. Just confirm. Payment directly made to the government by cash using cash ledger. Yes, 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 yes. So we are discussing 49 subsection 10. What is that 49 subsection 10? It says that you can transfer the amount lying in one head to the another head. What is the major head and what is the minor head? We have already discussed. That is CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST. That is all major head. And what is the minor head? Tax, interest, penalty, fees, or others. These are the minor. Okay. Now, suppose when you are depositing the cash, you have deposited the cash under the IGST major head and minor head is the tax. So where you have deposited the amount, you have deposited the amount under IGST and also under tax category. Now, for particular in this tax period, you require the amount in the CGST, you require the amount in the CGST and under late fees. 49 subsection 10 says you can use the PMT9 to transfer the cash. Please note one thing, amount available in the credit ledger cannot be transferred. Amount available in the credit ledger cannot be transferred. Only in the cash ledger you can transfer from any major head or minor head to another major head or minor head. Let's say there is an amount available. It will shows that what is the closing balance of the cash, and whatever the closing balance is cash, I can transfer from which head to which head. I have to select from which head I like to transfer to which head. So suppose amount lying is under IGST and tax part. Okay. It will shows the amount available. Portal will shows the amount available. Then where I like to transfer? I like to transfer under CGST and under the interest, under the late fees. So you will put the amount and then save. Once you file this state PMT09, amount will be transferred from this account to this account. Let's read the provision once again and then you can ask the question. I am reading the provision once again. Every person, a registered person may on the common portal transfer any amount of the tax, interest, penalty, fees or any other amount available in the electronic cash ledger. So if it is credit, can you transfer? Answer is no. To the electronic cash ledger for I, C or S in such manner and such condition as such subject to the such condition and restriction as may be prescribed, and the such transfers will be deemed to be the refund from electronic cash ledger. So you are taking the amount out from IGST. It will be treated. You have taken the refund and you have deposited the same in the other. So kindly ask the question on the PMT09 if you have. Kindly ask the question on the PMT09 if you have any question. So from IGST tax, I have taken the amount out. So it will be deemed to be the refund. I have transferred to the CGST and late fees. Then amount has been transferred to the electronic cash ledger. It shall be deemed to be the deposit in the said ledger. Next, the date of the credit to the account for the government in the authorized bank shall be deemed to be the date of deposit in the cash ledger. Expression tax dues means tax payable under this act and does not include interest, fees, and penalty. Other dues means interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount payable under this act or the rules made thereunder. Mansa, uh, this what is the see that again Mansa we can discuss from the general point of view, understanding point of view, but here we are discussing only from exam point of view. So it is not right to discuss this compensation cess and go into things and will create the confusion. There's altogether different concept. So compensation cess only short I can reply. So cess was introduced for making the payment by the central government to the state in case they have the shortfall in the revenue. Suppose prior to the GST, they are collecting 10,000 crore of the taxes. And after GST, suppose Delhi is getting only 9,000 crore. So the difference of 1,000 crore would be compensated by the central in form of the compensation cess. That is initially for 5 years. Time limit has been extended, but these are applicable like on coal, luxury car, tobacco. On these products, the compensation cess is leviable, but rest all the thing how the formula will be derived we'll discuss at in the final chapter, final GST classes in the final, not now. So transfer the amount through PMT09. Yes, transferring. Suppose amount is available in one head and you are requiring another head. It can be major or it can be minor. So that you can transfer through PMT09. Why the transfer is made? Uh, Danishwari, the transfer is made. Suppose you have that this month, you have the tax liability in the CGST, let's say rupees 1,000, and you do not have the ITC. And also, you have deposited the cash in the IGST. Suppose you have deposited the cash in the IGST. Then what? Can you use for the CGST? Answer is no. The ITC can be used, but here we are talking about the cash ledger. See, here we are talking about the cash ledger. Can we use the amount line? So let me ask this question again. One important question. It become one good question. You tell me. Question number one. You tell me. Suppose I have the output supplies intrastate. Okay. So there is a liability of CGST and there is a liability of SGST. Say rupees 300 CGST and 300 SGST. 300 CGST and 300 SGST. If you have the ITC under IGST, let's say 1,000 rupees, can you use the IGST ITC toward the payment of the CGST and SGST? We have already discussed. It's a very simple question. Can we use the IGST ITC toward the payment of the CGST and SGST? I'm talking about the ITC, which is lying in the electronic credit ledger, which is lying in the electronic credit ledger. First confirm, can we transfer, can we use the IGST ITC for making the payment of the CGST and SGST tax liability? Prabhas, it will get transferred instantly. Once you file, it will be the impact would be there. Once you file the PMT9, the transfer would be made immediately. No, assume, Hitesh, I am saying there is no liability under IGST. There is no liability under IGST. Suppose there is no liability under IGST, then you can use or not. Answer would be yes, I can use. Now, same situation I'm saying, you have the electronic cash ledger under IGST 1000. You have the electronic cash ledger. You have the amount lying in the electronic cash ledger under IGST. You have the liability under CGST 300 and under SGST 300. Can you directly use this cash ledger to the payment of the taxes of CGST and SGST tax liability? Answer is no. What to do? First, you need to transfer through PMT09. First, you need to transfer through PMT09 from IGST to C and from IGST to S. You need to transfer the cash. Then what happened? After transferring. So first you need to transfer the cash from IGST to C and S. So after transferring, what is the electronic cash ledger? What is the electronic cash ledger? After transferring, what is the electronic cash ledger? It will shows like this: IGST 400, CGST 300, SGST 300. Now I can use that credit. Now I can use this cash ledger of CGST and cash ledger of SGST toward the payment of the C and S. So what is the difference in the ITC and the cash ledger? You can use the cash ledger only if it is appearing in the same head, same major head, and same minor head. Same major head and same minor head. So, Dhaneshwari, I hope you have received your answer. I hope you have received your answer. Why we are need to transfer the cash from one head to the another head, or one major head to the another minor head. कार्तिक, दूसरा क्वेश्चन इसलिए नहीं पूछा क्योंकि ये कंफ्यूजन था, यही मुझे क्लियर करना था. मुझे सिर्फ जो क्वेश्चन पूछना था, दैट आई हैव टू ओनली आस्क क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. In case of the credit, no transfer needed. Rather, I should say, kindly give me the answer. Can I transfer? Can I transfer the credit through PMT09? Can I transfer the credit through PMT09? Can I transfer the credit through PMT09 from I to C or S? Should we always maintain the amount in the e-cash ledger? Why there is a requirement? Whenever you require, you should immediately pay. Otherwise, it is unnecessary block now. So, if the amount is lying in the cash ledger, what is the use of any other for business expense? So, whenever you need the amount, at the same time you can pay. If you like to pay in advance, it is open to you. You can very well pay, no problem. But being a proper working capital planning, I would say it will be immediately paid whenever you have the tax liability. Can you transfer the ITC from IGST to CGST or S? Answer is no. I can transfer only the cash. The PMT09 is allowing the transfer of the cash. It is not allowing the transfer of ITC, sir. Rekha. So therefore, I should say in case of the credit ledger, no transfer needed. I should say in case of the credit ledger, you cannot transfer that at all. You cannot transfer at all. Even if it is needed, you cannot transfer. Even if it is needed, you cannot transfer. All has given the correct answer. Yes, all has given the correct answer. Now, if it is directly utilized, there no such requirement, just logic, not sure. It is directly utilized, there no such requirement. You are talking, Kushi, you are talking about ITC or you are talking about cash? In cash ledger, Rafiq bhai, absolutely correct. Suppose this is the situation. Suppose this is the situation. Then this is the situation. If it is ITC, you can directly utilize. If it is cash, you have to first transfer in the relevant ledger where you need, and then only you can pay by utilizing the cash ledger. Transfer can be made from any major head to any minor head. There is no problem in C to S or S to C, tax to penalty, interest to demand, no problem at all. There is no restriction in transferring the cash from one major head to minor head. No. Yes, yes. In case of the ITC Info, absolutely correct. It can be utilized directly. Great. Amritpal. Transfer can be from major, minor. Absolutely correct, Amritpal. Kushi, ITC, your sentence is correct then. Ankur, now clear. ITC can be used from one head to another, but cash of the one head can be used only on transfer to the other head by PMTA. Great. Wow. Very nice sentence, Somesh. Balance of the credit ledger of the minor head can be utilized for other minor head. Balance of the credit ledger of a minor head. Again, it's good point. See, can anybody tell me the name of the minor head? Can anybody tell me the name of the minor head? Can anybody tell me the name of minor head? Quickly tell me the name of the minor heads. Tax, then only tax. Minor head. Rekha has asked good question. So that is the reason I'm asking counter question to all of you. Name of the minor head, only tax? No, sir. It can be the tax, it can be interest, it can be penalty, it can be fees, it can be others also. ITC, whatever ITC you are taking, that ITC is of only tax. When you are taking the ITC, you are taking the ITC of what? ITC of what? Only tax, sir. Only tax. Can we take the ITC of interest? No. Can we take the ITC of penalty? Not allowed at all, sir. Not allowed at all. We have discussed in the 17th subsection 5 also. So ITC means only minor head is the tax. Only minor head is the tax. Major, it can be C, it can be S, it can be I, it can be UTGST, it can be compensation SAS. But minor head in the ITC, it would be only tax, not any other minor head. So Rekha, benefit of the credit ledger of a minor head can be utilized for other minor head. So there will be no other minor head, only tax. Then answer would be yes. The balance available in ITC of one tax, whether it is CSI, can be transferred to, can be utilized, can be used for payment of the tax liability of others, subject to the condition 49, 49A, 49B, Rule 88, capital A, and Circular 98, which we have discussed in length in the ITC chapter, which we are not repeating right now. What is the name of the major head? These are the name of the major head. Bharat, CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, and compensation cess. These are the major head. Great, Rekha. Now moving to the another discussion. So that we have discussed. Now 53 capital A, transfer of the certain amount, where any amount has been transferred from cash ledger under this act to the cash ledger under the SGST, UTGST, shall transfer to the state account or UTGST an amount equal to the, sorry. So when I'm transferring from CGST tax to the SGST tax, when any amount has been transferred from the electronic cash ledger under CGST to the electronic cash ledger under SGST. So you are transferring from C to S or UTGST, the government, then government has to work upon one thing. What they will work? Government shall transfer to the SGST account, UTGST account, equal the amount transferred from cash ledger in the same manner, such time as may be prescribed. So obviously, if the CGST cash ledger has been transferred to the SGST cash ledger in the minor head, let's say tax, then equivalent amount has to be transferred also by the government as well. So we have discussed this internet debit credit, online payment, offline payment. We have discussed manner of the depositing, NEFT, Nash. We have discussed this. We all know. Correct. Now, what is the government portal? We have actually seen how to make the payment of the taxes in cash and what is the cash ledger, electronic cash ledger and electronic credit ledger. Meanwhile, you can ask the question. I'm just reading the analysis and just only the part which is left by me, I will discuss. Now, because we have discussed in length, I will not repeat every step once again. Okay. Non-applicability of the over the counter on deposit. See, first point, the amount is over the counter. You can deposit only 10,000 rupees. Over the counter means you are going to the bank, and then depositing the same in the cash ledger by cash. You are not using internet banking. You are not using NEFT. So there is a limit. Maximum 10,000 can be deposited over the counter. Okay. So non-applicability of the over-the-counter payment limit on the deposit to be made by the proper officer or any other officer authorized government department to recover outstanding dues, including attachment, preceding on sale of movable or immovable property. So these are the things where limit of 10,000 would not be applicable. Whether my video is buffering, I think today is not. Today not buffering. Kindly all confirm whether video is buffering or not. Voice, audio and video is okay or not, just confirm. Meanwhile, we are discussing, we are reading to collect the amount by way of the cash, check, demand, any investigation, enforcement activity or any ad hoc deposit or person notified by the commissioner. So in this case, the limit of 10,000 would not be applicable. So these are the payment by challan. When we are making the payment by challan, then these terminology CPIN, CIN, DRN and EFB. EFPB. Sorry. The CPIN stands for Common Portal Identification Number. Good video fans since beginning. Great, Pravas. It is a comment or compliment? Badhiya. It's okay on behalf of me, sir. Great. Fine. So CPIN stands for the Common Portal Identification Number. CIN stands for the Challan Identification Number. See, Common Portal Identification Number is 14 digit. CIN, Challan Identification Number, is generated by the bank once payment in lieu of the generate challan. Once you are making the payment and it is successful, then they will generate the CIN number. The CIN number is the 17 digit. 14 CPIN plus 3 digit of the bank. CIN is generated by the authorized bank or Reserve Bank of India. That is okay. BRN is bank reference number, is the transaction number given by the bank for payment against challan. And EFPB stand for the Electronic Focal Point Branch. These are the branches of authorized bank which are authorized to collect the payment of the GST. Each authorized bank will nominate only one branch as its EFB for Pan India transaction. EFPB will have to open account under each major head for all government. Any amount received by such EFPB toward the GST will be credited to the appropriate account held by the EFPB. For NEFT, RTGS, RB will act as EFPB. So that is okay. Banking system we have discussed. Next, are manual challan applicable as allowed in the earlier VAT regime? Manual or the physical challan are not allowed. Now everything you will go to the www.gst.gov.in and then you will make the payment. Even over the counter, if I am depositing the cash, then I have to generate the challan, which we have discussed in the cash challan. We have to generate the challan from portal and then take the print and then visit the branch to make the payment of 10,000, maximum 10,000. How many type of the challan are prescribed for various tax, payment, interest, penalty to be paid under the GST? There is only single challan. Again, we have seen practically also. See, if you ask me the relevance, it has much relevance regarding the utilization of ITC that we have discussed in the ITC chapter also, and also regarding the interest calculation. That can also be one of the important areas. These are the theory topic, may or may not become, not sure, but practically aspect is much important toward the utilization of ITC and that interest which we are going to discuss after the break. E-challan, what is over the counter? Karthik, we like to deposit the amount in cash. We are not like to pay through internet banking. Do not like to pay through RTGS, NEFT. Then take, feed the challan, take the printout, go to the branch, pay in cash. But that has the limit is 10,000. Does that mean deposit cannot be made in excess in electronic cash ledger? Karthik, buy cash. But there is no limit by internet banking. You can pay the cash, you can pay the amount by using the internet banking, no limit. But when you visit the branch, deposit the amount, there is a limit of 10,000. Clear? I hope it is clear. So the validity. So if I have generated the challan, I have to pay the same within 15 days. I have to pay the same within 15 days. Manner of utilization of amount reflected in the electronic cash ledger. The amount reflected in the cash ledger may be used for making the payment toward the tax, interest, penalty fees, or any other. In the e-ledger, information is kept in the minor headwise for each major head. The ledger is displayed major head, that is I, C, S, and S. Each major head is divided into the 5 minor head. Everything we have discussed. Everything we have discussed. What is the major head and what is the minor head? I hope it is clear already, but you can see again. Major head is I, C, S, UTGST or compensation cess. What is the minor head? Tax, interest, penalty, fees, or others. Can you give? It means we cannot deposit. It means we cannot deposit GST in bank. There are specified. Yes, when you go to the over the counter now. So let me see. When you go to the click on the over the counter, you will not be able to see all the banks. All the banks. There are some specified banks which is available. You can use that bank account. Mostly, almost all are available, but certain banks is still not available. Like to the extent of my knowledge, IndusInd Bank is not appearing in my payment. So I cannot use the IndusInd Bank for making the payment of the GST. So to the extent of my knowledge. Then we have discussed how to transfer the amount from one major head to minor head of one major head to another major head or from one minor head to another minor head. That we have discussed and we have practically seen also GST PMT 09. Section 53 capital A and section 17 capital A of the IGST provide for transfer of the amount between CGST and SGST in accordance with section 49 of the CGST, allowing the transfer of an amount from one head to the another head in the electronic cash ledger of the registered person. So on peculiar aspect of the electronic cash ledger, an unregistered person has to make the payment through electronic cash ledger on the basis of temporary identification number generated on the common portal. What is that? Any demand. So the tax, interest, penalty. Apart from that, there is a concept of redemption fine also. There is a concept of redemption fine in the GST. Again, it is covered in the final. So there is any other demand, any other amount which I need to pay, then I will use others. Now, can anybody tell me unregistered person has to make the payment through electronic cash ledger on the basis of temporary identification number generated through common portal? Please link with the registration chapter and give me some hint about this line. Give me some hint about this line. Can you link this with the registration chapter and give some hint about this first sentence? Kindly try to give me something. Any participant? You remember one suo motu registration we have discussed? Suo motu registration by the department. No RCM. No casual taxable person. Absolutely, Karthik. Absolutely, Karthik. When proper officer suo motu registered the person liable for registration, then he generate the GSTI temporary number, and that is valid for. Anybody can tell me that is valid for? Yes, Akash Neil. Exists a temporary reference number in the registration chapter where suo motu 25 subsection 8 proper officer has the power to issue the temporary registration. Let's say there are multiple. I'm giving one practical example so that you can correlate. Again, this discussion is only for your understanding. My truck was moving from Delhi to UP. In between, let's say there is a Gurgaon, Haryana. I do not have the registration. Suppose there is no proper EV bill, there is no proper tax invoice, and goods has been detained by the proper officer. He is levying the penalty under section 129. Then he will create my temporary registration in Haryana. Why? So that I can pay the taxes. Interest, penalty, whatever is there, I can pay by logging to the temporary registration number. It is valid for excellent Refa and Puja. It is valid for 90 days and you can use for payment of the taxes. The same thing they are saying, unregistered. For Haryana, I am unregistered person. And suppose I has to make the payment through cash ledger on the basis of the temporary identification number generated from the government portal www.gst.gov.in, where the person has claimed the refund of any amount from the cash ledger. The amount of the refund would be debited. Obviously, if I'm depositing the amount, it will be credited. If I am taking the refund, then it will be debited. Obviously debited. Where the refund claimed is rejected either fully or partially, the amount which is debited earlier shall be credited again. Now let's read the question number 1. Thank you so much, Kiran, Karthik, Dhaneshwari, and Khushi for giving the correct reply of 90 days. Daksha Enterprises has made the cash deposit of 10,000 under minor head, that is tax, of major head, that is SGST. It means the liability of 2,000. So it has the liability of 2,000 for minor head, that is interest, under the major head, under that is SGST. State whether Daksha Enterprises can utilize the amount available for payment of interest. Sushil and Mansa will give the answer. You raise the question, but after solving the illustration number 1. You all are requested to give the answer for the illustration number 1. Whether Daksha Enterprises can utilize the amount available for payment of interest. It is available under the tax, but it need under the interest. Simply one line. Can you give me the answer? Simply one line. Just now we have discussed. 49 subsection 10 gives the no utilization cannot be made directly. First, you have to transfer according to the 49 subsection 10, that you will transfer from major minor to the another major minor. So in this time, there is a major head are same, only minor to be changed. So we have to transfer from PMT09 from tax to the interest, then Daksha Enterprises can be available to use the same. The registered person is allowed to transfer the amount available under any minor head of a major head to any of the minor head of the same or other major head according to section 49 subsection 10 wide form PMT09. Therefore, in the given case, amount of the 10,000 available under tax can be utilized for payment of the liability of 2,000 under interest after making the transfer from PMT09. That is okay. Now, who can tell me what is the rule 86B? Who can tell me what is the rule 86B? Thank you so much, Pooja, Dhaneshwari, Somesh, Prabhash, Amritpal, Pooja, Sushil, Mansa, Prabhash, Raghavan, Mehman, Rafiq Bhai, Bharat, Khushi. Wow, all have given correct answer. Mahadev, Rekha, Karthik. Karthik, you are from Delhi. Karthik, you are from Delhi, right? Meanwhile, please give me the answer for 86B. Currently, I am reading the question of Susil and Mansa. And then after you give the reply, I will give the answer to the question of the Susil and Mansa. Suo moto means the proper officer has some power or authority to do something. Yes, suo moto means apni ichha se, by their own. So not you have applied, not the registered person or any unregistered party has applied. You at your own motion given the registration. Why you have given the registration? Because you have the right to do so under section 25. Mansa. Internet banking through authorized bank. SEC is composition dealer and he does not have internet banking. Can he make the payment through banking channel? I mean to say, can authorized bank make the payment on this behalf? Only 10,000. If he is exceeding 10,000 tax liability, he has to pay through RTGS, NEFT, internet banking. Over the counter maximum limit is 10,000. Nowadays, Mansa, everyone will have the bank account because when taking the registration, he has to give the bank details. Mansa, for taking the registration, he has to give the bank detail. You remember, we have discussed one rule, rule 10A, that after taking the registration within 45 days, the bank detail has to be given. So it is not possible that one is registered and does not have the bank account. After 45 days, proper officer has the power to cancel the GST number if the bank account detail has not been furnished. Great, yes. That's very, very nice, very nice. You are saying 1% payment in cash. Raghavan is Karthik is saying 1% payment in cash. Raghavan, 1% need to be paid in cash. Amritpal, payment of 1% tax liability in cash. Isa is given the limit also. Wow. 50 lakh ka limit of the turnover. ITC of IGST first, then go to the CGST. Rekha, nahi, my question is not, I think you have given the rule 88A. I think you have given the answer according to the rule 86B. I hope 86B is something different. Karthik from Delhi. Oh, great. Mahadev restricted to utilize full ITC if utilized full ITC. Mahadev, you are talking about. Okay. You are using the first restricted word. Absolutely correct. So, what is the meaning? Kushi, Mansa, given the 99% Kushi restriction on use of the amount available in the credit ledger, great. Mahadev, 1% mandatory through cash ledger. Prabhas, 86B restriction on use of the electronic is restricted to 99%. Yes. Danishwari, 86B, yes, all knows. Isha, Bharat, it can be Kushi. Absolutely correct. 86B, you all knows. So maximum, we can use 99% ITC, 1% has to be paid in cash. If the tax liability is more than 50 lakh or taxable value is more than 50 lakh, kindly confirm tax liability is more than 50 lakh or taxable value is more than 50 lakh. What is correct? There are some exception. Oh, Somesh are going to the proviso also, going to the certain exception that when this limit is not applicable, income tax of 2 year, 1% accumulated, or he has taken the refund, everything we have discussed in the ITC chapter. I am again saying to all the provisions, 86A, 86, 88, 86B, we everything have discussed in detail in ITC chapter. Taxable value, not the tax liability. Thank you so much for correcting me. So you have given the answers are 50 lakh a taxable value, excluding exempt supply or including exempt supply. Excluding zero rated or including zero rated? Kindly give me the answer. The answer is including or excluding. What is the answer? Absolutely correct. Sir, taxable value other than zero rated, other than exempted. Purely domestic transaction ka taxable value, I have to consider if it is exceeding 50 lakh, then I can use 99% maximum ITC, 1% I have to pay in cash. There are certain exceptions which you all know. Thank you so much. Input tax credit as self-assessed in monthly return will be reflected in the electronic credit ledger. The credit in this ledger can be used to make the payment of only tax, not for other amount, interest, penalty, fees. Kindly confirm. I hope this particular line, this particular para is clear to all. Please confirm this para is clear to all. I hope this particular sentence, wording, everything is clear to all. We have discussed in length. SSC has bank account, but he does not know how to operate. He has to learn. Mansa, he has to learn. Only solution, he has to learn. If he like to pay more than 10,000, he has to learn. Authorized bank cannot make on his behalf. Monthly return is GST R3B. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So Mansa, in my view, it is to be by any of the mode RTGS. So in case of the RTGS, you can go and deposit the check. I think you can just check. I think through check they are accepting. Manner of utilization of ITC circular 98 has given this table, and we already have discussed 49.5, 49A, 49B, Rule 8080 and circular 98. IGST self-assess means GST 3B or IFRS, I guess maybe. I mean, no, Karthik, only 3B. IFF is only for the outward tax liability, outward supplies, and ITC is the inward transaction. You cannot take the ITC through IFF. IFF is my outward supplies, and ITC is my inward supply, which I am reporting in 3B. So the only GST are 3B. Self-assessed means when the registered person is filing the GST return, he himself calculating whatever the transaction appearing in the 2B, 2A, whatever he has the tax invoice. So entire calculation of the ITC is being assessed by himself. That is the ITC is self-assessed. We call as a self-assessed ITC. So the department has not cross-verified the same. The SSC himself has calculated and added the same in the ITC. That is self-assessed ITC. Means self-assessed ITC can only be used for the tax and not for other minor head. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And I hope this heading is also clear. ITC you cannot use for the liability of the RCM. Suppose you have the liability of the taxes to be paid under reverse charge. I have received legal services. I need to pay the tax under RCM. For payment of this tax liability, can I use ITC? No. You have to pay in cash. You have to pay in cash. Is it clear? Kindly confirm. Is it clear? Ankur, Kushi, and Somesh. My points are: what will be the situation if it is filed quarterly only? Will ITC that period will remain pending to be credited to the? Yes, it will be remain pending. So when you file 3B, then only it will be credited to the credit ledger. Then only it will be credited to the credit ledger. See, point is, uh, you remember the 16.2, all the condition. What is the last condition? What is the last condition? He has furnished the section 39 return. What is the section 39 return? That is GSTR 3B. So when registered person is filing the GSTR 3B, that is the only source of amount crediting in the electronic credit ledger. RCM concept रेखा पहले भी था. It was also available in the service tax regime as well. It is not new. So manner, we have discussed that IGST can be used. We all know. So I'm not repeating this manner. So let's take a break of 10 minutes. Let's take a break of 10 minutes. We will resume at 7:30. Correct. Let's take a break of 10 minutes. Then we'll resume at 7:30. Ashok ji. So again, starting electronic liability register, that is the third category of register. 49 subsection 7 enumerate the third kind of the ledger, that is auto updated on the common portal with electronic liability register. While the term cash and credit are defined in the act, but the liability register is not defined. Section lays down all the liabilities will be maintained in the separate register. What is the order of discharging the tax and other dues? We have discussed that first it will be self-assessed tax and other dues of the previous tax. Then it will be self-assessed tax and other dues of current period. And once these two steps are exhausted, once these two liability are finished, then remaining amount, if any, will be utilized for any other amount payable, including the demand under section 73, 74, etc. The expression other dues referred above means interest, penalty, fees, or other. Presumption of the incidence of the tax is passed on 49 subsection 9 we have discussed. Now, the chapter 9 of the CGST rule provide the following. What is that? Debit to the electronic liability register. All amount payable toward the tax, interest, fees, late fees, and any other amount as per the return filed. Debit to the electronic liability. All amount payable toward the tax, interest, penalty, any other amount determined in a proceeding by an assessing authority as ascertained by the taxable person. Interest payable under section 50 or any interest amount that may accrue from time to time. Now, this is the debit to the electronic liability register. Now we are talking about debit to the electronic credit or cash ledger. Debit to the electronic credit ledger and credit to the electronic liability. So whatever it is being credited, it will be debited to the electronic liability because you are making the payment of taxes. You are making the payment of the taxes. Payment of all the liability. Payment of all the liabilities of a registered person as per his return subject to 49, 49A, 49B. And debit to the electronic cash and credit to the electronic liability. So again, payment of all the liabilities of a registered person as per his return subject to 49, 49A and 49B. Next, new things, payment of the TDS deducted under section 51 and TCS collected by e-commerce operator under section 52. Amount payable under reverse charge, amount payable under section 10, amount payable toward the payment of tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount that will be debited to the cash or credited to the electronic liability register. So we have discussed that which all liability has to be debited, which all has to be credited. Moving further, that how to new payment system benefit the taxpayer and the commercial tax department. No more queries and waiting for payment, as payment is made online, instant online payment. Receipt for payment is generated. Tax consultant also can make the payment on behalf of the client. Single challan, revenue will come earlier into the government treasury. Greater transparency, online payment made after 8 p.m. will be credited to the taxpayer on the same day itself. Now, very, very important provision, section 50, that you can expect that some part may be asked in the bigger question. That one bigger question is being asked, right? In that, you may have some component of the section 50 also, or may have the separate small question. Now, what is the section 50? Every person who is liable to pay the tax. So electronic liability, so there are three reasons: electronic cash, electronic credit, and electronic liability. So all the liability which is being created and which is being paid, that will maintain my ledger. That ledger will be maintained in the electronic credit ledger. So it will be auto-populated. When you make the payment cash or credit, it will be credited to the electronic liability register, or it will be debited to the electronic liability register as discussed above. Now, what is the section 50? Section 50 is interest on delayed payment of taxes. Every person who is liable to pay the tax in accordance with the provision of this act or the rules made thereunder, but fail to pay the tax or any part thereof to the government. Okay. Within the period prescribed shall, for the period for which the tax or any part thereof remain unpaid, pay on his own interest at such rate not exceeding 18%, as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council. So what can be the maximum rate? It can be 18%. It can be 18% as may be notified. Sir, this proviso, my dear friend, this proviso is very, very important. This proviso is very, very important. Provided that interest on the tax payable in respect to the supplies made during a tax period. And this is again, most important keyword. I can say most important keyword. Declare in the same return. Declare in the return for the same tax period. Meaning thereby, if I have the liability for the month of June and I am reporting the same in the month of the June, then liability, if I have reported in the same tax period, remember always, the due after the due date, suppose my due date is 20 and I am filing the return on 25th, I have to pay the interest for 5 days. On gross liability or net liability? What is the meaning of the gross or net? What is the meaning of the gross or net? Let's say you need to pay the government, you need to pay the taxes rupees 10,000. You have the ITC, of 7,000. You are making the payment in cash. You are making the payment in cash. You are making the payment by debiting the electronic cash ledger. How much amount? 3,000. The proviso says that interest would be not on 10,000. Interest would be on 3,000, provided you have declared in the same return the liability pertain to June month. If you have declared the tax liability in the same return, that is for the month of the June GSTR 3B, now instead of 20th June, 20th July, you are filing the return on 25th July. Then interest of 5,000 would be applicable on 3,000. Interest of 5 days, interest for 5 days would be applicable. Interest for the 5 days would be applicable on the net tax liability paid in cash, that is 3,000. Otherwise, 10,000. What can be the example of otherwise? Otherwise means when there is a payment of penalty and interest in tax payment, when there is a penalty of penalty in tax payment. Hitesh, I have to pay the tax by 20, but I am paying the tax on 25. Then government will say that you have to pay the interest for 5 days. Or there is some penalty that again, it is not covered in the interest syllabus. Suppose say that I have to pay the penalty amount because of any provision. So then that penalty will also be variable. I have collected the tax but not paid to the government for more than 3 months. There was a provision in section 73, 74. Again, we'll discuss in the final. Now, giving another example, there is a liability of 10,000 in the month of the June. But what happened? I have not reported the same in the month of the June. Fine, no problem. When I am reporting the July month GSTR 3B, when I am filing the GSTR 3B for the month of the July, I have added that 10,000 liability pertaining to previous month. Also, I have taken the ITC. Again, I am paying 3,000 in cash. This time, interest would not be applicable on 3,000. Interest would be calculated on gross amount, that is 10,000. Why? Because this time I have not declared the liability in the same return to which It pertains. The liability is of the June. Yes. Whether you have declared in the June GSTR 3B? No. I have declared in the subsequent period. Then they are saying interest will be calculated on the gross, not on the net. Is it clear? Whatever the due date, I have given the hypothetical example. Let's say I am my monthly filer, then the due date is 20. Whatever the due date is after that, if I am filing the return, then interest would be applicable. Bharat and Rafiq bhai, is it clear or still not clear? Ankur, your question is answered or not? Kindly confirm. Let's repeat again. Once again, for the sake of the benefit of all. See, I have the liability. I have the liability for the month of the June. I have the liability for the month of the June. What is the liability? Gross tax liability is 10,000. I have the ITC of 7,000. It is of June. And suppose I am filing the June month return. I am filing the June month return. Due date is 20th July. Due date is 20th July. But I am filing on 25th July. So I am paying the taxes to the government. I am paying the taxes to the government 5 days late. I am paying the taxes to the government 5 days late. So I need to pay the interest. Now the question is, interest would be applicable on the net tax liability which is being paid in cash or gross tax liability. This is the question. Interest would be on 10,000 or interest would be on 3,000. The proviso says that interest would be on 3,000 if you have reported the liability in the same tax period. So the liability pertain to June. Have you reported in the June? Yes. You need to pay the interest on net tax liability for the number of the days delayed by you. And suppose in the June month, I have filed nil return. Let's say, hypothetically assume that I filed the nil return, which is possible also. I am adding this 10,000 liability in the July month return, which is to be filed in August. Then it is saying that interest would be calculated or interest would be levied on gross tax liability. Even though you have the sufficient ITC, you cannot take the benefit of the proviso. You cannot charge on the net portion. You have to charge on the gross. Why they are penalizing? Because we have not declared the liability in the same tax period. Rafiq bhai, kindly confirm. Is it clear? Ankur, Bharat is unclear. Rafiq bhai, kindly confirm. Is it okay? Yes, I need to discuss. Danishwar, 73, 74, that line I have to discuss. Wait for some time. His interest will accrue in case of mismatch of information built on the supplier and recipient. That will be ITC. We need to read 50 subsection 3, then it will come. So you are talking about supplier and the recipient, that is ITC mismatch. So that we will discuss in the 50 subsection 3. Answer is yes, but we will discuss in the 50 subsection 3. Karthik, sir, of quarter filing is there for say for the month of April, May, and June. So the liability for say pertain to say month, but the filing of the same will be done after the end of the quarter. So interest will be collected in the gross return. For quarterly, it will be applicable only in case of the quarterly return. So for example, April, May, June. So for entire quarter, you have to see. For that quarter, you have reported in that quarter or not. So in that case, in case of QRMP, quarterly return I have obtained, then I will see the liability of entire quarter, whether it is reported in quarterly return or not. Interest on 3,000, if I am declaring in the same quarter or same tax period, or it will be in 10,000 if I am not reporting in the same tax period. $3,000 multiplied by 18%. Oh, Kiran, obviously you have to multiply by the number of the days delay. 18% is per annum. 18% is per annum. So multiplied by number of days divided by 365. except where the return is furnished after commencement of section 73 or 74. Now the department has initiated the proceeding. Now the department has initiated the proceeding. Wait. Sakti is asking when the interest on the gross portion, please explain again. No problem. I'll explain again. When you are declaring the liability not in the same period, you are declaring the liability in another period. I am monthly filer of the tax, I am monthly filer of the GST return. Liability pertain to June month, but I have reported in July, or I have reported in September. June month, I have not reported the liability. So when I'm reporting in the July or August or September, I have to pay the interest on the gross tax liability, not on the net, because not declared in the return for the same tax period. Declaring the same tax period means due for payment. No. It is saying that if the liability is of June, it has to be reported in the June GSTR3. If the liability is of July, then it has to be declared in the July GSTR3. And that 3B is being furnished after the due date. That 3B is being furnished after the due date. That is due date. We will discuss everything in the written chapter, not now. So what is the due date? What is the concept of quarterly? What is the concept of monthly? We'll discuss in the GST written chapter. Means due for payment and not paid. Declaring the liability means due for payment and not paid. Is that line is correct? Understanding is correct. If I'm declaring means I have to pay, and that is due for paid, and not paid. It means I have not declared. It means I have not paid. So because declaring is equal to payment. See, when we are filing the GSTR3B now, when we are filing the GSTR3B, whatever the liability we are declaring, we have to pay the liability. Then only we can file the GST return. So declaring means payment. Whatever the liability you have declared, then it means you are making the payment of that, which is due for the payment. Obviously due for the payment. If the return is filed per quarter, interest will be calculated on the days or quarter. See, it will be calculated on the days. See, for then in that case, I have to see for entire quarter. I have to see for entire quarter. See, April, May, and June, I have to consolidate for June month. What is the due date of 3B? What is the due date of 3B? So in the QRMP, just wait for a couple of next class, we will discuss what is the due date in case of monthly, what is the mode of the payment, there is fixed sum method, there is self-assessment method. So we will discuss again over that. If my tax is due, simply see, what is the tax you need to pay? That is 10,000. You not made the payment, then you have to pay the interest on gross or net. On gross or net, if you have declared the liability in the same tax period, in case of the monthly, it will be, in case of the monthly filer, it will be calculated on monthly. In case of the quarterly filer, so we have to see the quarterly liability. Only after the end of the quarter, if he is short paid, then he has to pay the interest on the net portion. Declaration is done only after the due date. Declaration is done only after the due date. Again, in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. So you are, so for the time being, I request everyone not to confuse about the quarterly. Not to confuse about the quarterly. Because for quarterly, the payment of the taxes per month is something different. Per month liability, how much I need to pay, that is different. That you are not required to pay. See, how much you need to pay, that we will discuss in the written chapter. For the time being, try to understand this provision according to the monthly filer. We'll discuss again when I will explain the QRMP, when I will explain both the method, then we can again discuss the interest question over there. Is the declaration done only after the due date? Yes. Declaration done means I am filing the GSTR3B after the due date. Declaration means you are declaring in the 3B and you are depositing the tax along with 3B which is being filed after the due date. So it means you are paying the taxes after the due date. Pooja, again, interest is only for the remaining amount. Only if you have deposited, you have declared the liability in the same tax period. You are paying in the same tax period. So June month ka liability, you are reporting in June 3B, then interest would be applicable only on the net. If you are reporting the June liability in the June GSTR 3B, no. In the subsequent 3B, then interest would be applicable on the gross. Let me discuss if the return is being furnished after the section 73 or 74 initiated, then the benefit of this net would not be available because government has initiated the penalty prosecution on you. Then you are filing the return. Again, in that case, it will not be applicable. Shall be levied on that portion which is being debited the cash reserve. Now, the interest shall be calculated in the manner as may be prescribed from the day succeeding the day on which tax was due to be paid. So if it is 20, then the interest would be calculated on 21st. From 21st. Now, one has asked the question for ITC. For ITC, the taxable person who make an undue or excess claim of the ITC. So my eligibility is suppose 3,000. But I have claimed 5,000. So I have excess claim of 2,000. It says that if taxable person who make undue or excess claim, of ITC, under 4210 or 4310, then shall pay the interest on such undue or excess claim or on such undue or excess reduction as the case may be at such rate not exceeding 24%. So if I am eligible to claim the ITC, let's say 3,000, but I have claimed extra, let's say 5,000. On 2,000, I need to pay the interest at the rate of 24%. So any question on this particular? Let me solve one practical question. If this particular has, I think there is some practical question. Let's solve this practical question. Mr. Alok, the registered supplier of taxable goods, filed the GSTR 3B for the month of January on 15th April. The prescribed due date is 20th Feb. The amount of the net GST payable, that is cash, laser, 36,500, which was paid on 15th April. Briefly explain the related provision and compute. You are required to only compute the interest. You are requested to compute the interest. What is the interest to be paid by Mr. Alok? You can show the formula also. Simply show the formula. First tell me whether the liability has been declared in the same return, or subsequent period. Whether the liability has been reported in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Give me the answer. Whether the liability has been reported in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Rate 24%, is it operational? You are talking about practical inclusion. You are asking practical. What is happening in the current? What is happening currently? There is some confusion. Let me clear that confusion. Let me clear that confusion first. See, Mr. A has to file June month return. June 22. If he is filing, let's say on 15th August 2022, June month GSTR 3B, June month GSTR 3B, which has the due date of 20th July, but it is being furnished on 15th August. What you will say? Whether the liability has been declared in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. What you will say? Whether the liability has been declared in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Kindly answer this question first. What you will say? What you will say? I am filing the return late, but I am filing the return of June 22 itself. See, I am filing the return of June 22 itself, not by the due date, but later on. I am not declaring the liability. See, declaring the liability means in which month, in which GSTR 3B you are reporting this liability. So there is some confusion. Just wait for some time. See, so there can be two possibility. Try to understand. Lot of confusion is there. See, there is two possibility. There is a liability of 10,000. So let's assume that I am filing monthly GST returns. June GSTR 3B, July GSTR 3B, August GSTR 3B. Likewise, I am filing every month. In the month of the June, there is a 10,000 tax liability and 7,000 ITC. There can be two possibility. This 10,000 I am reporting in the June GSTR 3B. ITC I am reporting in the June GSTR 3B, and the balance 3,000 is being paid in cash. Now, when this return is being filed, it is immaterial to determine whether the liability has been declared in the same tax period or not. What is the meaning of the liability declared in the same tax period? The liability declared in the same tax period means the sales of which month? June month. Whether it has been reported in June 3B. If yes, then it means you are reporting the liability in the same tax period. Only point, this GST return is furnished not within the due date, but after the due date. Is it clear? First, confirm, is it clear? Suppose I am filing the GSTR 3B of the June on 25th August. What I will say? In same tax period or subsequent? Answer is same tax period. Only return is being late furnished, but I am reporting the liability in the same GST returns. Is it clear or not? First, not to calculate the interest. Abhi, for the time being, you just give me the answer. If June GSTR 3B is being furnished on 25th August, what would your answer? Same tax period or subsequent tax period? Let me see the answer. Then again, I will modify my reply. I will change the method to explain, but confirm. But please confirm. What is the meaning of the reporting the liability? What is the meaning of reporting the liability? GSTR 3B. Let's say, what is the GSTR 3B? Let's say, what is the GSTR 3B? It has multiple tables. So table 3 is talking about what is the total sale and total tax liability. What is the total sale and total IGST, CGST, SGST. Table 4 is talking about how much is ITC. How much is ITC? Then table 6 is asking pay the net payment of the taxes. Bharat, I'm explaining by your question to everyone. What is the declaring the liability? So there will be the GSTR 3B of June. There will be the GSTR 3B of July. There will be the GSTR 3B of August. For every month, there would be the 3B. I can add in any month in which I want because it is a self-declaration. It is not like the department will assess my liability. There is some auto population that is okay. There is some auto population that is okay. But suppose situation number 1, the liability of the June, I am reporting in the June. What does it mean? It means this 10,000 liability I have added in the June GSTR 3B under the table 3. It means if you file this 3B by the due date, there is no interest. If you file this 3B after the due date, there would be interest, but only on the net tax liability. Is it clear? No problem. You can see the report. Tax. Why tax period will end in September? Why tax period will end in September? Tax period means in case of the monthly, it is every month. In case of the quarterly, it is after the end of the quarter. Assuming for the time being, I am assuming it is monthly taxpayer. Bharat and everyone, एक बार confirm करें. If I have reported this 10,000 in this June GSTR 3B, but this 3B is being filed after 2 months, is there any problem? Is there any problem that whether the liability has been reported in the same tax period? Answer is yes. I have the liabilities of June. I have reported in June 3B. Only thing I am filing the GST return by after 2 months. So the government will take the interest on 2 months. Na? Government will take the interest for 2 months. That's it. Now let's take another example. In the June GSTR 3B for the month of the June, I have filed nil. Okay, what is the difference between the due date and tax period? Tax period means the filing frequency of the GST return. There are two options available. Either I can go for monthly or either I can opt for QRMP. So if I am opting for QRMP, my tax period would be quarterly. If I am opting for monthly filer return, then my tax period would be every month. Ask the question, whatever the question you ask, so that then only it will be clarified to everyone. Because now these all chapters are related to the practical part. Not there is very less part of the theory. If you are sure, if you are thorough about the concept, you can write correct understanding in the exams. If it is fit in your mind, you can write in your own language, but your understanding would be correct. So now I am saying the liabilities of the June, but I have filed GSTR 3B of June, let's say nil return. Okay. So when I'm filing the GSTR 3B of July, I have added the 10,000 which pertain to previous month. Now tell me that I am reporting 10,000 in same tax period. Answer is no. Your tax period is monthly. You have opted monthly filing returns. Then this 10,000 pertain to the June and you are reporting not in June. It means you are not declaring the liability in the same tax period. Therefore, the interest would be levied on the gross, not on the net. Absolutely correct understanding of Mahadev. Let's read the sentence of the Mahadev loudly. If tax liability is declared in the same return, that is GSTR 3B of June, but it has not been furnished by the due date, then interest would be levied? Yes. But in that case, interest would be levied on gross or net. Answer would be net, because you are reporting the liability in the same, but that return is not furnished within the due date. Karthik, if liability is shown in June, which is filed for say December, it will be still on the same tax period and paid on the net. And if liability is shown in June 3B, which is filed for say December, that taxation. Same. Akash, filing and declaring are same. Declaring means you are, see, there are multiple table in the GSTR 3B. There are multiple. So you are adding the amount and filing the GSTR 3B. It means paying the taxes. Filing the GSTR 3B means paying the taxes. Whatever the taxes are there, you are making the payment at the time of filing. So I am filing the 3B of June. I have declared the June and then paid the taxes. It means if you paid by due date, no interest. If you paid the taxes after the due date, if you filed after the due date, it means you have to pay the interest but on the net tax liability. Karthik, question आपको वापस repeat करना पड़ेगा. Not able to understand what is the meaning of with respect to that exception. If the due date is 12th July, then the period for which the purpose is full month of July, after July, we will levy interest on full value, right? If due date is 12th July, then the period for this purpose is full month. See, one thing is clear that due date will be only after the end of the month, only after the end of the month in the next month. For example, I'm talking about the monthly taxpayer. So for every monthly taxpayer, the due date for payment of the tax is 20th after the end of the month. Pooja, it cannot be the same. So liability of the June, I cannot pay in the June month. Once June will not be complete, how can I ascertain my liability? So they are saying June month the liability will be paid by 20th July if it is monthly. Karthik, एक और क्वेश्चन वापस पूछना. Appear to be interested question, very interesting question, but kindly ask again. Please, sir, explain again. So fine, no problem. I am explaining again, but that would be the last time, considering the time limit. See, what is the meaning of declaring? It means when you are filing the return. What is the meaning of declaring? It means when you are filing the return, you are reporting, you are mentioning, you are declaring that this is liability. This is, see, 3B will be filed by every taxpayer manually. It is manual. It is not like system generated automatically will be filed. So you have to enter the value in the sales, you have to enter the value in the ITC, and what is the portion of the tax you have to pay the same. What is the meaning of declaring? What is the meaning of same period? See, liability, assuming that I am currently talking about monthly taxpayer. If I am filing monthly, so if there is a sale of the June month, there is a liability of the June month, I have to pay, I have to report, I have to add this liability in the same tax period. It means June GSTR 3B. If there is a liability of the June, I have added in the month of the June. Added means when I am filing the GSTR 3B of June, I have to report how much is the sale, I have to report how much is the ITC, I have to pay the balance portion in cash. So that can be two possibilities. Sir, sales of June has been reported in June 3B, but this June 3B is being filed after the due date. No problem. ITC will be, so there will be interest would be applicable, but only on the net. Second possibility that liability, the sales is pertaining to June, but intentionally I have not added in the June, or somehow it is missed by me. Somehow it is missed by me. Then I am filing the next month return. I have added in that because I have to pay the tax. See, I have to pay the tax. That is one thing sure now. I have to pay the tax. Suppose you forgot to add in June. So what you will do? You will add in next return. You will add in next return. So you are filing the July in which you have added the liability of June. In which you have added the liability of the June. Now, suppose that return is being filed. There is a delay in payment of tax. You tell me, can we say that it is declared in the same tax period? Tax period means monthly. Tax period, currently I am talking about a monthly taxpayer. It is monthly. So June ka tax period is June. So are you adding that sale in June? No, I am adding that sale in the next month return. So I can say in this case, interest would be levied on gross tax liability, not on the net tax liability. Kindly confirm, is it clear? Which will be filed, say December 20. It will be still on the same tax period and paid on net? Yes. Answer is yes. Karthik. Suppose June month ka return is being filed after 1 year. So it's still on the net? Yes, answer is there. Simply the liability sales pertain to which month? June. Have you reported in the June? Yes. You are filing after 1 year. Okay, no problem. I will pay the interest for 1 year, but I will pay the interest on net, not on the gross. In simple word, liability of the month paid in the same month, but after due date, then 18% interest on the net liability. Yes, whereas the liability month paid in the subsequent due date. Perfect, perfect for this. Karthik, second question is the liability shown in June 3B, which is filed on say, December, and with respect to that exception in the proviso to 51. Yeah, now it is correct. Is before 20th December. Proceeding are started under 70% November. Then it will not go. Yes, yes. You are saying 73, 74 is initiated. Then the particular taxpayer is filing. Yes, yes. Agreed. Still, if anyone is not clear, kindly ask me, because this point is very, very important. Now, may I request everyone to calculate? May I request everyone to calculate that what would be the interest of Mr. Alok? Let me answer this question. 36,500 he has to pay on cash portion, 18%, 54 days. From 21st April to the 15th, 21st Feb to the 15th April, the day when the tax is being deposited, it will be included. Illustration 3 will do. It is important illustration. It is big, so appear to be very good illustration. If the June GST is declared in August 25th and paid on the same date, and then the interest will be calculated for many months, how much amount, sir? You need to calculate. Sakti, we'll discuss. We'll take the example. See, June month liability, what is the due date? 20th July. I am assuming 20th July. I am assuming my monthly taxpayer and the due date is 20. So June ka tax has to be paid by 20th July and you are paying 25th August. So 21st July to 25th August. This is the number of the days. Liability of the June declared in July but filed before the due date. What is that? Very good question. Now you tell me. Now I am asking this question to all. First, I am asking this question to all, and then we'll proceed to the illustration 3. Very important question. I was supposed to ask. I have added one example in my particular PPT, but before that, Akash has asked the question. Now tell me. Now tell me. This is the confirmation that you have correctly understood or not. I am monthly taxpayer. I am filing the return on monthly basis. What is the due date? 20th of next month. So for June, what is the due date? 20th July. But for July, what is the due date? 20th August. Now suppose there is a 10,000 ka liability of June. There is a 7,000 ka ITC and there is a 3,000 which I am paying in cash. The 10,000, 7,000 is not being added in June. June I have filed nil. Now let's say suppose I am adding in the July month. I am adding this liability in July. 10,000, 7,000, 3,000, which I am filing on 20th August. That is due date. Still, is there any interest applicable or not? Kindly confirm. Is there any interest applicable or not? If applicable, then gross or net. You have to give me two answers, whether interest is applicable or not, yes or no. Because July month ka return has been furnished by due date. Interest is applicable or not? If yes, then tell me, is it in the gross or on the net? Very good question. Thank you, Akash. Advance payment of the GST possible. Sushil, you can add through PMT06. It will available in the cash ledger. You can use whenever you are paying, whenever you are filing the 3B. How can we adjust it through 3B only? Through GSTR 3B only. Bharat, will discuss with you. Are you sure that liability of June I have added in June? Liability of the June I have added in June 3B? Liability of the June I have added in June? See, first point, whether interest would be applicable, answer is yes. Why yes? See, what is the due date of the June tax liability? If I'm asking, what is the due date of the payment of the tax for June? 20th July. When I am paying the tax on 20th August, interest has to be applicable. Interest has to be applicable. Why? Because you are reporting the liability of the previous tax period. पुराना liability आप दिखा रहे हो. June, July का liability. If the liability is of the July, then there is no problem. But you are adding the liability of the older one. What is the due date? Please check. Sir, the due date was 20th July. You are paying on 20th of August. You have to pay the interest on gross and for 1 month. Somesh, in GST return has been filed of July rightly, but the liabilities of the July, whether liabilities of the July, fine, no problem. I'm asking again, no problem. Question is, suppose the liability of the June, I am not adding in June, I am adding in July and paying the tax on 20th of August. Question is clear? Pooja and Rafiq bhai, there is a liability of the June. I am not paying the June. I am filing the GSTR 3B nil of the June. What I have did, I am adding this liability in the next month, say July 3B, which has been furnished by the due date. Whether question is clear, Pooja and Rafiq bhai. Now my question, July liability, if there is any July liability, then you can say I have paid in time, no interest. I have paid in time, no interest. But in the July month liability, whether all the sales is of July, no. I have added of June also. Interest has to be applicable. Am I right? And that is also gross, because June ka liability has not been added in June. It means you are declaring in the subsequent. Therefore, the interest would be applicable on the gross. Kindly confirm. Interest would be applicable on gross. Interest applicable, yes, on gross and for 1 month. Is it clear or not? Kindly confirm. Is it clear or not? Kindly confirm. कार्तिक आपका क्वेश्चन आंसर क्या था? काफी ऊपर चला गया यार. What was your answer? What was your answer? So interest would be applicable on 10,000 for 1 month. Interest would be applicable on gross amount for 1 month. July month 3B has been filed, but whether the liability is of July? No, sir. It is older liability. You have to pay the interest because June ka liability. What is the due date? 20th of July. When you are paying the taxes, 20th of August, interest is being levied for 1 month. Requesting everyone to confirm. Requesting everyone to confirm, please. Now need to solve the question number 3. Prabhas, if July return is paid in August, then what amount? The interest will be applicable. What is the sales? What is the sales? What is the liability? On the liability, you will calculate the interest. Let's go to the question. Might be you will have more clarity by solving the question. ABC Limited have filed 3B for the month of the July within the due date prescribed under section 39, that is 28th of August. Post filing the return, registered person has noticed during September that tax due for July have been short paid by rupees 40,000. Asking this by solving this practical illustration, your doubt would be more clarified. You are more clear about your concept. See, he has filed July month 3B by the due date. After filing the return, he has noticed that there is a one tax of 40,000 has been short paid. Means liability of the 40,000 which belongs to July, but it has not been declared in July. Now the ABC Limited has paid the above shortfall through GSTR 3B of September filed on 20th of October. He has made the payment 30,000 in cash and below utilizing the ITC of 10,000. First tell me, by adding the liability of 40,000 in September month, what you will say, whether liability has been declared in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Yes, absolutely correct, Pooja. Due date is same for filing and paying. Absolutely correct. Due date of the GSTR 3B equal to the date of the payment of the tax. Due date of the payment of the tax in case of monthly. What is quarterly, we'll discuss in the written chapter. Kindly give me the simple answer whether 40,000 which is being added in the September, can we say that liability is being added in the same tax period or subsequent tax period? Answer is subsequent tax period. Subsequent tax period. 40,000 which pertain to July but has been added in the September. So therefore, the interest would be applicable 40,000 or 30,000. So tell me, interest would be applicable on 40,000 or 30,000? Interest would be applicable on 40,000 or 30,000. Answer would be gross tax liability. So 40,000 multiplied by 18%, multiplied by what is the due date of July? 20 August. So from 21st August to 20 October. Calculate the number of the days. It would be, someone has told that 61. Akash, liability of the June declared after June but filed before the due date. It is not possible. It is not possible. The statement, Akash, you are saying that liability of the June added in July. So the July will be open. July will be open only in August. July ka return will not be available in July. July ka return will be available in August only. So the statement you are saying, which is not possible. Is it clear? Let's see the answer. This is the answer. 40,000 multiplied by 18%, multiplied by 61 divided by 365, 1203. Is it clear to everybody? Now he has changed the question. What would be your answer if the 3B for the July has been filed belated on 20th of October? What would be your answer if 3B of the July itself has been filed on 20 October? What would be your answer? What would be your answer if July 3B has been furnished on 20th of October itself by reporting all the liability, that 40,000? Now, please tell me at that point of time on which amount you will calculate the interest. Is it 40,000 or is it 30,000 or is it 10,000? Yes, because this time I can say the liability is the July, you have added in the July, but you are filing on 20th of October. The first point, the liability which is being paid in cash, 30,000 multiplied by number of the days, that is 61, 18%. Transfer of the Akash, clear hai na? Akash, point clear? I think Akash has asked what is the treatment. Akash Sharma, kindly confirm. Because you are saying that June ka liability adding in subsequent but filing before due date, not possible. Belated return won't charge the tax period, interest on it. Belated return won't change the tax period. No. See, it is sequential. You have to file June, then July, then August, then September, then October. So June month, you can file on any date. There is no problem at all. Suppose I'm filing after 6 months, after 1 year, it is possible. Now, transfer of the input tax credit, section 53 and section 18. If the amount of the CGST utilized toward the IGST, then in terms of the section 53, there shall be reduction in the amount of the CGST equal to the credit so utilized, and central government shall transfer such amount equivalent to the amount so reduced in the CGST account to the IGST. So whatever we are utilizing the ITC toward the payment of the taxes. Accordingly, government will settle the account. Similarly, if the amount of the IGST is utilized toward the dues of the CGST, then in terms of section 18, there shall be reduction of the amount of the tax. That is okay. Theoretical part, that is okay. Let's move to the important one. I like to solve some certain one. I have one PPT. Quickly answer the question. You all are requested to quickly answer the question. Akash, how to know that 30,000 is the net amount, sir? Given in the question of Bharat, clearly given in the question. He is saying self-tax liability 40,000. He is saying self-tax. It is clear in the question itself. Otherwise, how can I come to know, sir? It is saying now that what would be your answer if 3B is July has been belated on 20 and the self-assessed tax is 40,000 has been paid on 20th. Payment is through cash 30 and the payment through credit is 10. So by this, I came to know that 30,000 is the net amount which is being debited or which is being paid in cash. Whether GSTR 3B of July means reported in July. No. GSTR 3B of July means the period is July, but we have to file in August 20. We can file July month only in the month of August. It would be available after the end of the July. So July 3B means the GST return of the GST return of the July month, which has to be furnished by 20th of August. How it is possible to have the difference in filing and paying amounts? Not possible. Not possible. Suppose I am filing and paying. So whatever you will file, you will pay now. It is not possible to difference. Give me the answer for question number 1. Give me the answer for question number 1. What is the maximum amount per day can be deposited under over the counter? What is the answer to the question number 1? How to know that 30,000 whether GST is reported in July? Yes. Raghavan, right. So may say the 40,000 is in B service itself, then what will be the consequence? No interest. So if the 40,000 is paid on 20th of August itself, see the payment would be only through 3B. Payment means 3B has been furnished. 3B has been furnished. So it means you are saying you have paid on 20th of August 40,000. So then there is no interest because you have paid the same in the due date. What is the answer to the please select yes or no for each category where the ITC cannot be utilized for the payment of below activity? Can you use the ITC for tax liability? Yes or no? Can you use the ITC? But Karthik, I have not received the answer from Akash, who has asked the question. That is the point I'm asking again. Akash clear hai ya nahi? Sushil, we have already discussed that over the counter maximum you can deposit 10,000. Over the counter maximum you can deposit 10,000. Please select yes or no for each category. Can tax liability be paid through ITC? Yes or no? Can tax liability be paid through ITC? Answer is yes. What about can we pay the ITC for interest for payment or for late fees? 2, 3, 4. No. Absolutely correct. ITC can be used only for the tax liability. Can the amount lying in the cash ledger under CGST be transferred to the SGST? Thank you so much. Can the amount lying in the cash ledger under CGST be transferred to the SGST? Can the amount lying in the cash ledger under C be transferred to the SGST? Answer is yes or no. Yes or no? Answer is yes, because cash can be transferred from any major head or any minor head to any other major head or any other minor head. No problem at all. Cash, there is no problem. Answer is yes, it can be transferred. It can be transferred. If you have the tax liability is in each head, similarly, you have the input tax credit in each head. So what is the sequence for setting the ITC of CGST? This is important question. We have not discussed in this. So we have not discussed. Let me ask the answer. Please give me the answer that if you have the tax liability under ICS, you have the ITC in the ICS. So I am asking CGST ITC will be given to which first, second, and third? What is the sequence of CGST ITC? What is the sequence of the CGST ITC? What is the sequence of the CGST ITC? What is the sequence of the CGST ITC? CGST ITC, the correct answer is C. Correct answer is C. Because if the CGST has some ITC and CGST has some tax liability, CGST ITC, I'm asking C, please note, I'm asking how the ITC of C will be distributed. It will be goes first to C, then to I. It will first go to C, then to I. You are giving the answer. You are giving the answer according to the CGST tax liability. If my question is CGST tax liability, they will first take from IGST ITC, then they will take from CGST ITC. My question is something different. I'm not asking CGST ka tax liability kaise adjust hoga. I'm asking how the ITC of the CGST will be given. It will first goes to C and then goes to I. You can watch the C. Obviously, C ka ITC can never be given to S, or S ka ITC can never be given to C. So the point A and B, the option A and B is not possible because they are talking about SGST. So CGST ITC can never be utilized to SGST tax liability. So obviously A option and B option is not at all feasible. Only 3 and 4th is there. Right answer is C. Yes, yes, Mahadev, absolutely. First, my own liability, then only I will go give the donation. पहले तो मैं अपने घर का requirement complete करूंगा, then only I will think of donation. Rule 86. Restrict the amount. Restrict the amount available in the credit ledger which a registered person can use to discharge the output tax liability in case where the taxable supplies does not accept. I think you have given the answer, but quickly give me the answer. Quickly give the answer. That is, Prabhas, per day you can remove. You can remove the per day. You can remove per day. It should be per challan. That is accepted. That is accepted. So, दो नंबर पे ताला लगाया जाए. What is the right answer? Excluding exempt but including zero? No. Excluding exempt and zero rated. Including exempt, what is the right answer? Yes, right answer is 2. आप 1 करोड़ रुपए जीत गए. कलेक्ट करने मत आना बस खाली. ठीक है. Now the last important question which you all have to give me the correct answer, which you all have to solve, Akash, YA, you are giving the answer for question number 5. Akash, the 50 lakh X, you are giving the answer for which question? I'm assuming you are giving the answer for question number 5 and the right is option 2. Again, the problematic question, I can say, again, I need to confirm that whether you're collecting correct or not. ABC Limited is filing 3B on monthly basis. ABC Limited is filing GSTR 3B on monthly basis. ABC Limited has filed the GSTR 3B for the month of January on 25th Feb. That is due date is 20th Feb. Also, IGST liability pertain to December 21. See, try to focus. Now, based on your answer, I determine that whether you have understood the section 50 correctly or not. See, you are filing the GSTR 3B for the month of January 2022, Jan 2022. On which date? 25th Feb. So there is a delay by 5 days. Yes. Also, IGST liability pertain to December 21, which is not reported in December 21. GSTR 3B, however, added in the Jan 20. So you are adding this December 21 IGST liability 10,000 in Jan month return. Please calculate the interest. So first, I am asking the question. You tell me whether this December liability I have declared in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Give me the answer of only this question. I have declared in the same tax period or subsequent tax period. Give me the answer that I have declared the tax liability of December in the December or same tax period or subsequent tax period. Same tax period or subsequent tax period. Do I need to pay the interest or do I need to pay the interest on 0 rupees or 10,000 rupees? Do I need to pay the interest on gross or net? Do I need to pay the interest on gross or net? Do I need to pay the interest on gross or net? Do I need to pay the interest on gross or net? Do I need to pay the interest on gross, that is 10,000, or net, that is 0? Do I need to pay the interest on the gross or net? Gross or net? The answer is you have added in the subsequent. Yes. Why subsequent, sir? Because the liabilities of December and this liability I am adding and paying in GSTR 3B of Jan. So it will be the subsequent, and therefore I can say the interest would be gross. Interest would be on the gross. Now tell me the last answer. Will it be 5 days? How many days? So you calculate and tell me how many days. You calculate and tell me on how many days I need to pay the interest on 10,000. You have given the right answer 10,000 multiplied by 18%. Now tell me multiplied by how many days divided by 365. So calculate from 21st Jan, calculate from 21st Jan to 25th Feb. Calculate the number of the days from 25th Jan to 21st Jan to 25th Feb. So how many days? 25th of Feb, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. Kindly confirm. Will it not be 11? Will it not be 11? The right answer would be 36 days. Please note, the day of the payment would also be included. The date of the payment would also be included. The date of the payment would also be included. It means the February 25th and the 11th day of January. So the total number of the delays would be 36. So I have to add 36. I have to pay the interest for 36. Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly confirm first. Is it clear? I'm not going for CGST. I'm not going for SGST. First, tell me whether IGST ka interest portion is clear to all or not. Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. Whether IGST interest calculation is clear to all or not. First, tell me whether IGST interest calculation is clear to all or not. Sushil, I would request, please watch the video again. If it is not clear, then we'll discuss because it's already too late. It's already too late. My another class would be started at 9 o'clock. So my request would be that please watch the video again. And if it is still not clear, we'll discuss on some another days. So because I'm just confirming once again, 10,000 liability is of December, but had been added in the January. So it is subsequent tax period. Interest would be on 10,000 gross amount, and number of the days would be 636 because it will be started from 21st Jan to 25th Feb. So 25 दिन July, 25 दिन फरवरी का and 11 दिन 11 days is of Jan. So the total 36. Total 36. Now CGST and SGST, because it is pertaining to the same tax period, so interest would be on net tax liability paid in cash and multiplied by 5 days only. Multiplied by 5 days only. Due date of the, see, Rekha, liability is of which month? Again say, liability is of which month? This says, this IGST says pertain to which month? December. What is the due date to pay the taxes of December? 20th Jan. So you have to calculate from 21st Jan only. No? You have to calculate from 21st Jan. Because liability pertain to which month? December. What is the due date of the payment of the tax of December? That is 20th Feb, 20th Jan. So if not paid, then from 21st to the actual date of the payment, you need to calculate the interest. From Jan 21 to 31, it is 11 days and plus 25 days plus 25 days is of 25 days is of February. So the total 36. Akash, total 36, not the 35. So thank you very much. We have to complete the today class. We'll meet in the next class with written, very practical topic. We'll enjoy all. Thank you very much. Good night to all of you.